Welcome everyone to the Young Professional African Collective. I'm your host, Adarichi Obwaku. And here at White Path, we talk to people doing work on the African continent or pertaining to the African continent. And today we have a special guest with us. We're going to be talking a lot about different things with economics on the continent and in the southern part of the continent. So today we have Miss Kagiso
Kagiso
Mamabolo.
Yes, close enough. I'll take that. You're
Take
like 80% there.
Okay, by the end, I'm gonna get it.
Yes.
We're gonna get to the end. But yes, so welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. So, wow, where do we even start? Well, one, you're a Nelson
Mandela Washington Fellow.
Yes.
2025 Mandela Washington Fellow.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So if you remember, we have a previous episode where we had another fellow on, and so there's so many of them here in the city doing amazing work. Yes. And it was only natural if I just contact them and talk to them and have them on. So thank you for being willing.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
So sweet.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for creating this platform for us young Africans to just tell a little bit about our story, where we come from, and the work that we're doing.
Yeah.
It's such a meaningful platform and a necessary platform. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So you are from where?
So I'm from South Africa. Okay. My background, I was born and raised in Johannesburg in South Africa in a township called Soweto. Okay. I think it's the largest township in South Africa for sure. I don't know about the African continent, but that's where essentially Nelson Mandela actually lived there for quite some time, as well as Desmond Tutu. Mm-hmm. So there's a street in Soweto, which is in the Guinness Book of Record, believe it or not.
Okay.
It's the only street in the world that had 2 Nobel Prize peace winners.
Wow.
And that was Nelson Mandela, former president, as well as Desmond Tutu, Archbishop. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. And now I live in Cape Town. Sorry.
I live in Cape Town.
I live in Cape Town, South Africa.
Yes. So how, I guess, meaningful is it to you that you are from South Africa, you're part of the Nelson Mandela Washington Fellowship? Like, how what does that mean to you?
Oh my gosh. I don't even have the right words to articulate. It's affirming, it's affirming that the work that I do is meaningful, it's impactful. And it gives me, besides the visibility, it's such a honor and a privilege to be part of an amazing cohort. Like, let me tell you, those are some heavy hitters within the African continent. And it shows that I'm doing work that really impacts the daily lives of people. And so I'm so grateful to be part of the fellowship, to be chosen as a 2025 fellow. Out of more than 50,000, if not 55,000 applicants. Wow. So it was quite a rigorous process.
Y'all clap that up. Like, for real, that is amazing.
Yes.
Like, tell me a little bit about your background.
Yes.
You said now you live in Cape Town.
I live in Cape Town now, yes. So I'm an economist. I work for the budget office, the Parliamentary budget office in South Africa. Okay. Its equivalent, the American equivalent is the Congressional Budget Office.
Okay.
So what I do over there is, or what we do at a very high level, is that we provide advice and analysis to the members of Parliament of the 4 committees that we support on the bills that have been tabled by the executive.
Okay.
And so my specific focus area is essentially synthesizing the members of Parliament on the socioeconomic realities that are faced by South Africans on the ground. Yeah. So when there are bills that are proposed by the executive that have what we call fiscal implications, which is financial implications, and economic implications, that those are grounded within the socioeconomic context of the realities of the people on the ground. And so what we try to do as an office is to advocate for policies that ideally reduce unemployment, poverty, as well as inequality in our country. Yeah. And I mean, we have the highest unemployment rate in the world, believe it or not. Okay. We're also the most unequal country in the world, which is so insane.
Yeah.
And also our poverty rates are pretty much high. So that's essentially what I do. And my background, I have a master's in economics
Okay.
from the University of Pretoria, which is a
Okay.
university in South Africa.
Hmm.
I also have a master's in global management
Okay.
through three leading business schools, one of them being Fordham University here in the
Amazing.
US.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's a mouthful of essentially my background. But I'm also involved in, I'm also secretariat of the African Network
Okay.
of Parliamentary Budget Officers. We can talk a little bit more about that
For
later.
sure.
And I'm also part of a lot of organizations that are in economics and public policy, such as the Pan African Scientific Research Council, Golden Key, the Economic Society of South Africa. So those kind of, I'm affiliated with those organizations as well. So yeah,
Okay.
quite a bit.
Okay. That's amazing.
Thank
So
you.
accomplished,
Oh,
doing so many amazing things, having time or having things done here in the US and back home and
yes,
different parts of the world.
yes.
So
So
yeah.
lucky, so lucky.
I mean, you are an amazing person.
Oh,
And I
thank
think people
you.
recognize and I think people really want to be a part and hear what you have to say.
Yes,
One of the things that you spoke about was the advocacy work that you do
yes,
and your work in providing the information to the parliament
yes,
so that they can now make informed decisions.
yes.
Can you talk to me about maybe a bill or something that you know helps that you really felt passionate about that you really were or proud of that or
Yes.
something that stands out about the work that you've done?
Okay. There's a lot of work previously that I did that was very high impactful, but I'll park that. The most recent one I would say is so this year. So we in South Africa we table our budget in February
Okay.
for the financial year,
Mhm.
and then we have also another budget that is tabled in September. That's almost like an adjustment. So the budget that was tabled this year in South Africa for the first time since the dawn of our democracy did not pass.
Okay.
It did not get any passing because
Okay.
there were certain proposals in that budget,
Mm-hmm.
which was essentially, well, government at the time had said that there was a revenue shortfall, and
Okay.
they wanted to increase in America what they call the sales tax,
Okay.
and in South Africa we call it value added tax.
Yes.
And so our office, and in terms of my presentation, the part that I played was that we emphasized that this would be a regressive tax.
Okay.
It would negatively impact low income households relative to high income households,
Okay.
because low income households spend a bulk of their budget on housing, water, electricity, and food. And when there's a sales tax, that just increases their cost,
Right.
like just significantly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think doing that presentation was a catalyst. It was not the only thing, but I think it also did equip members to say, we might need to stop this. This is not going to work.
Yeah.
There were other political factors, of course, and procedural factors that played into the budget not being tabled. But I think we were quite instrumental in providing that objective advice and nonpartisan advice to say that this is not good for low income households and middle income households. So it was the first time in 31 years that the budget did
Wow.
not go through.
Okay.
And then, so they proposed, so that budget, they didn't table it. We just saw the documents.
Okay.
And then they tried to table it again in March. And then we made our presentations to say, do not do this
Yeah.
because of those kind of reasons. And there were other factors within our presentation and the presentation I did. And then it came back again it was for the third time.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they're now proposing to increase the fuel levy. So
Okay.
even though I
Same thing.
personally argued against that,
Yeah.
but it also is almost like a regressive tax as well. But
Okay.
it's not an immediate impact like the sales tax, where
Right.
overnight everything would just well, food at least would go up.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I feel for me that was quite meaningful, and I was quoted in media publications.
Awesome.
There's a YouTube link to the
Ooh.
presentation that I made where where I gave them my the view of my view and the office view that we were against just the increase in the sales tax. And yeah, I think for me that was quite a like a standout thing that I did this year at least.
Absolutely. I think to be able to like lend your voice to something that has such an immediate impact on
Yes.
so many people,
Yes.
that is something that's oh, that's like a stellar thing that you can say
Oh,
that you were a
yes.
part of.
Yes.
Another thing that came to mind when you were speaking.
Yes.
So what now led you? Because you already have such a like a big impact on the national
Yes.
the budget.
Yes.
So now, what made you want to now do the Mandela Fellowship?
Okay. So I'll take a little bit of a step back as well to just give you another part of my background as well.
Sure.
So prior to me going to Parliament, I worked for one of the highest offices as well in my country.
Okay.
So I worked in the office of the Minister for Trade, Industry, and Competition. And I think I also did quite meaningful and impactful work there. So essentially, my role at a high level, it's not in my contract, but what I tried to do or what I was doing was to translate our trade agenda into tangible outcomes.
Okay.
And so, but also being in that office, I found myself almost being a bridge between the executive, which was the minister and the senior advisors, as well as the senior officials in the department, and these would be CEOs of entities that report to our department, chief directors, and so forth. So, so for me, I feel like I've always been in a position where decisions are made and almost at a very high level, key position. And it was just, I mean, circumstantial. Just I happened to always be there. And prior to me going, I worked in the private sector, which was consulting, and there. There were juniors who were under me where I would provide some sort of like guidance in the work that we used to do. So I feel like I've always found myself in almost like positions of leadership.
Yeah.
And it was just by circumstance and just my technical experience and technical know-how. So I always felt like, there might be some blind spots that I might be missing when it comes to a leadership role. And for me, I feel like I had the humility to just reflect to say, I need, just to empower myself from a leadership aspect.
Okay.
And I need to find opportunities that will provide me with that empowerment. And also hopefully to learn from my peers who might be in leadership positions, even if they're not in leadership positions, to see if there's any blind spots that I might have and reflect on and work on those.
Amazing.
And so being in the working environment, that doesn't really necessarily allow you to do that because you're just constantly working, trying to meet deadlines,
right.
And it's quite yes, it's so busy. And so this is why I applied for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, because it does empower the next generation of leading African leaders with the leadership skills. There's also academic sessions as well as all the other sessions, but it's all under the umbrella of just empowering us when it comes to leadership skills.
Yeah. So take me back to when you were in Soweto and you were a young girl.
Yeah.
What kind of thoughts were you having then? Like, is this something that you always kind of thought you would do? Yeah, talk to me a little bit about what you're growing up.
I feel like it's a combination. I kind of fell into it.
Okay.
So I was raised by women.
Okay.
I was raised by my grandmother, and I was raised by my mother as well. But I lived in a household. Well, my surrounding community and even with my household, we were quite poor.
Okay.
And it just felt like a lot of the people that were really struggling to make ends meet looked like me, and I would have to commute to to school. It would be like an hour commute from the township to it's a public school, semi-private public school, but it's a what we call formally Model C. So it's a school that integrates all races. So it's not predominantly black. And that would be quite far away, and I would take public transport to get there. But it just always felt like it's people who look like me that spend a lot of time trying to make ends meet and still are struggling. And for me, I just wanted to understand what the root causes of that was. My own mom would work just long hours, but would still be struggling to make ends meet. I lived in an overcrowded household with cousins, and of course, when you're young, there's certain things that you don't realize that actually we we don't have it like that.
Absolutely.
We don't have it like that. And when I looked at my community, I mean, it was people, there was a lot of teenage pregnancies.
Okay.
People were impacted and affected by HIV and AIDS.
Okay.
A lot of people were just not really doing well. It would be just pockets of one or two people that would do so well, but would actually leave the township and never come
Yeah.
back.
Okay.
And so I feel like I didn't have a blueprint of what success looked like.
Okay.
And for me, I also just wanted to understand the root causes of why do we have like the socioeconomic disparities in my community, in my country. It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like how I got into economics, because it does essentially permeate every aspect of our lives.
For sure.
But I did study accounting prior to economics,
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I was a science student,
Okay.
believe it or not.
Okay.
I didn't do accounting.
Okay.
And I wanted to go into politics, actually.
Okay.
And my mom was like, absolutely not.
Okay.
You're not doing that. Politics is something you can fall into.
Yeah.
Just get a degree or something, but just not politics.
Okay.
And then I just felt like I didn't know what to study. And my cousin was like, well, just take accounting.
Okay.
And then economics was one of the subjects that I did in my first year of accounting.
Mm-hmm.
Finished it, guys, but hated it. Sorry to the accountants. And so
I was an accountant in my former life too.
Oh no! I could not see my life like just balancing books. No. It pays relatively well in my country, believe it or not. I don't know about the US as well.
It's pretty steady, something that everyone needs.
Yes.
Different industries. Yes. So it's a reliable field.
It's a reliable field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, somebody has to do it.
Someone does have to do it, yeah. I know it's a no for me. I just wanted to get it over and done with. Yeah. I did well in it, but I couldn't do it. And then so economics was one of the subjects that I did, and I realized that it just kind of sorted a very high level first year, answered some of the questions that I had growing about the socioeconomic disparities and so forth. And then post accounting, I decided to go further into economics and so that's the reason why I studied economics, essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I love that, because I think with economics, like, it's never just about the numbers. Like, you have to dig into it.
Yes.
And a lot of history involved into it.
Oh, yes.
A lot of, the social, economic, society, what is it? Like, societal norms that are involved in it. The laws and the different things that all kind of combine into then what policies are being put out.
Yes.
So
it's like you're in my office.
Yeah. I love that. It's multidisciplinary.
It's multidisciplinary. Mm-hmm. And for us, maybe let me just touch on this a little bit more, is that in our office and the work that we do is that we try to advocate for our members to understand that economics in the South African context and in the African context as a whole has a lot of path dependencies. Yeah. So it's the past policies that were implemented around colonialism, as well as apartheid, all those kind of policies play into where our countries find ourselves in. So it's very important to have a holistic picture of that particular context to be able to make more informed decisions on how to better our countries at an economic level. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now, thinking about your economic background, maybe even your accounting background, maybe that comes up, but then also taking on this leadership role and all the different leadership roles. Tell me about your application process to the fellowship and how that's really been something that's helped you go to that next level in your career.
So it was a rigorous process. Oh my gosh, the application process. Okay, let me say this. Don't do this. I applied like the day before the closing date. Okay. So it's a written process. So it starts off as a written process. Mm-hmm. So you have to apply. So the applications opened, I think, around mid-August of 2024, and then it closed around it was 1 month, so around mid-September. So it was a written application, and there were just quite long questions to answer and so forth. And then as I mentioned, there were over 55,000 applicants across the continent, so 49 countries. Mm-hmm. So the fellowship focuses on what we call sub-Saharan African countries, and they're 54. They're 49 out of 54 countries.
Okay.
And so there's a written application process, and then after there's an interview process. So those that are successful from that phase of the written application can go into the interview process. So I was interviewed. My interview, my interview happened earlier than most people. So the interview process is around December, January. So I was interviewed in December of 2024. And then essentially after that, then they shortlist the successful applicants. So they notify us of our status in March of 2025. And then once you are successful, you also still need to go through another process. So there's pre fellowship models that we all had to do. I think there were about 5. So balancing that and work was quite interesting. And so that's essentially at a very high level. So it's a written application process, it's an interview process, and then if you're successful, you're notified, and you have to do certain modules to just ready you for coming to the United States. And sorry, what was your second question after that?
So now that you're in this,
yes,
like because I know one thing that you really wanted was to hone your leadership skills. And
yes,
I know you've had a few weeks in the program.
Yes.
Have you felt like you've gotten some of that leadership, sharpening that you were looking for?
Yeah, I do feel like I have received quite a lot of skills from the academic sessions that we've done. Just reflecting on my own approach as a leader. Just like we've been taught. It's been quite reflective. So maybe let me also touch on the structure of the program, if that helps.
For sure.
So the program is structured into academic sessions, and then we've got community site visits, and then we have other site visits. So we visit. How can I put it? Like the government, the state at the state level. So your councils, other businesses that are affiliated with the universities where we're placed. So those kind of like site visits to get a feel of what it feels like to be working in the US. In different areas, be it in health, in government, in tech, those type of things. And then we have what we call focus projects. So where we're working on either a project that you're passionate about that you're doing currently at work, or a project that will impact the community. And then you're assigned a project coach around that particular focus project. And there's also other things in between, like networking and so forth. So there's certain areas that I didn't realize that I liked in outside of the leadership, like networking, for example. It is hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you can tell, I'm a little bit long-winded. Like I go off on a tangent and I come back sometimes.
This is great.
And so part of that networking is just to hone that area, to just make you a better networker. So it's helped me in areas that I didn't really think of prior to coming.
For sure.
And definitely from the academic sessions, from the leadership sessions, I've learned quite a bit there. And academic sessions are also just, learning about, the healthcare sector in the US, the government sector here in the US, how it works. It's within the American context, the history of the US and so forth. Politics at a very high level, not really in detail. So that's the composition of the academic sessions. And as well as the leadership sessions, like we do sort of like almost like team building exercises. And that's something that we don't necessarily get to do back home in my field, at least. I mean, we're just always like, there's not a lot of team.
You do the job.
Yes. So like those kind of like areas, you get to learn a little bit about your blind spot. Are you really a patient person? How do you approach conflict? What are your core values? What are your negotiables, your non-negotiables? So those kind of areas. So you start to think about those things, and those are not the things that like back home I would actually really think about. What really matters to me as a person. And so I can say that those kind of skills for me have actually helped me become quite a better, young leader.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that's all important because, like you said, like that that self development. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not always in the context that you think you will be in,
Yes.
and it's not always in the place that you are. Sometimes you have to be outside of your comfort zone and try and figure out like, okay, who am I now, and how does
Yes.
it make sense in this different context?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
um, now I do have a question. Is there anything that you've noticed, like, or some kind of connection between back home and maybe the city of Detroit or
Yeah.
Michigan in general, or maybe the U.S.?
Okay. Yes, there is actually. For me, let me start with Detroit. It feels like home.
Okay.
It
Okay.
feels like home
I
in the
love it.
sense of, I mean, our duration here, we've been hearing, this is a city that's revitalizing, it's
Yeah.
rejuvenating itself. It's gone through some hardships,
Hmm.
and as a result of, systematically, but also poor governance.
Hmm.
And that's kind of like sort of like South Africa. That's what we're almost like going through. Like
Okay.
we're still trying to um, get ourselves together when it comes to good governance.
Hmm.
And also, when I view Detroit, you can see that there's still some socioeconomic disparities.
For sure.
There's more affluent areas and there's areas that are still struggling.
Hmm.
And and also when it comes to at a sectorial level, at an unemployment level,
Yeah.
this used to be, or I don't know how it is right now. I need to, sorry, don't quote me on that. But I mean, this used to be the mecca of manufacturing of
Yeah. For
automobiles,
sure.
and
Absolutely.
then there was a period whereby that particular industry sort of like it went away,
Hmm.
and so did the jobs,
For
and that's
sure.
kind of like what we're facing in South Africa as well.
Okay.
Our industries, particularly manufacturing, used to be a huge contributor to our economy,
Okay.
but we're going through a period, in my view, that we're deindustrializing.
Okay.
So we're losing a lot of jobs. A number of firms are shutting down. So kind of like that period where Detroit was in is somewhat where we are, and we've been for quite a bit of time.
Okay.
So those kind of like at an economic level, at a social level, I do see a lot of similarities. So that's why it kind of like feels like home.
Yeah.
And I think when I think about the United States as a whole, there's quite a huge black population,
Yeah.
and I'm from like predominantly black population
For
in
sure.
South Africa. Yes, I mean we're known as the Rainbow Nation of Africa,
Hmm.
but like we still are predominantly black. So that feel as
Mm.
well,
Yeah.
that's how it just feels like home for me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so we are a country that's rebuilding, and I
Hmm.
think Detroit as well, it's rebuilding. I think it's building, but there's still a lot that still
Yeah.
needs to be done.
Absolutely.
And for me, I think with the little side visits that we've done, or the many side visits that we've done,
Hmm.
and also our academic sessions, and just learning from Detroiters themselves.
Hmm.
What up, though?
Ah, yeah. What up, y'all? I love
I feel like,
it.
I mean, maybe I'm in a bubble, I'm not sure, but I
Yeah.
do feel like we're going, I think it's an upward trajectory. I mean, there are
Yeah.
going to be problems. It's
For
not going to
sure.
be perfect.
Yeah.
But, I think from just the discussions, I think the state, the city, and the state is trying to diagnose the issues correctly.
Okay.
Um, Maybe
Really interesting.
it hasn't, it's not a perfect diagnosis.
Yeah. Okay.
But like I think it's trying to see where the challenges are,
Okay.
and that's the only way that you'll be able to figure out what reforms and policies can go into bringing the city to back to its former glory.
Right.
So, and that's I think where South Africa kind of is, sorta, but I
Hmm.
feel like we're still struggling with like correctly diagnosing,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
challenges that our country faces. I know a lot of things that I'm referring to is really at an economic and social level,
Yeah.
but I do think that we have different schools of thoughts in South Africa, so we're
Hmm.
not correctly diagnosing the key issues properly,
Hmm.
and this is why some of our policies are not necessarily materializing the way that we want them to materialize.
I
So yeah.
see. I see. So, what's something that you think you'll take back with you when you do go back home?
Oh.
It could be from the city, it could be from the program itself, or
um,
maybe it's from one of your fellows.
oh my gosh, good question. Let me think. I need to think about this.
Yeah.
What am I taking back with me apart from the academic sessions and everything? Um, it's to try like it's to keep on going,
Mm.
regardless of the challenges that you're facing,
Hmm.
within the work environment, within the economy, within
Yeah.
everything. It's just you need to keep on putting one foot forward and just keep on going,
Yeah.
and that's just when I just view people within the cities that, there are quite a few challenges, but people still show up every day and
Yeah.
they just still keep on going and
Hmm.
try to give it their all and their best in the respective work that they do.
Hmm.
So it's sometimes when I look at the janitor that works in this particular building,
Hmm.
showing up with a smile on his face and
So
just doing the
nice.
best that he can do
Hmm.
every day with the job that he has,
Yeah.
and just that's just that kind of spirit for me is so important,
Hmm.
and it's definitely something that I'm taking back with me back home, that you know things might not always be so great,
Yeah.
but it's just so important to always show up
Hmm.
and to do your best even with the most what seems like mundane tasks.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, so that kind of spirit, and also the sense of community, we
Yeah.
have it in South Africa for sure,
Hmm.
but I do feel like you know, like there's there's a little bit of individualization, and I
Okay.
know that holistically within the American context, there is individualization, but I've seen the sense of, so let me also provide this context that we did have some home visits as well to
Okay.
give us a feel of what it feels like to live or be in an American family,
Interesting.
and for me that sense of family,
Hmm.
I think when I think about the environment that I'm from, or what I'm observing, is that I do feel like we're losing that element
Mm.
of not the family unit, but just bringing the family together,
Yeah.
and I love experiencing that, and that's for me something I'm definitely going to take back home with me and just be more intentional when it comes to
Yeah.
family, and just try to build and cultivate my own, like my nuclear family being, my siblings and
Hmm.
parents and so forth. Just try to bring that family unit
Hmm.
back because it's very important. It's your backbone,
Yeah. Absolutely.
so yeah, so
I
that's what
love
I'm taking
it.
home with me.
So, is there any way that people can get involved in anything that you're doing, or is this something that maybe they can just follow you along your journey?
Yes, yes. Thanks for asking that.
For sure.
So, in terms of the work that I do, in terms of the Parliamentary Budget Office, they can just actually see our website.
Okay.
So, Parliament of South Africa,
Hmm.
there's a link there that goes to, that you just can play around there, that goes to our office, which is the Budget Office, the Parliamentary Budget Office. And we have all our work there, all our written work. It's free for public consumption,
Okay.
all our thought leadership pieces, all our analysis that we make for all the committees. It's
Mm.
free, it's available for
I love
everyone.
it. I love it.
Use it and just empower yourself with that.
Hmm.
They can also follow, Parliament of South Africa, which is Parliament of RSA, on X, and a lot of the work that we do, or a lot of the work of Parliament, is there on X, and they can be involved, especially for South Africans. When there's a bill that's proposed, we need more people. We need the public to actually be
Mm.
engaged,
Yeah.
and to follow and to just read through what's going on, and to participate, because
Yeah.
a lot of the policies that are proposed
Hmm.
affect every single person within the country. So it's really
Yeah.
important to just keep yourself abreast of what's going on that aspect. And for me personally, you can follow me on LinkedIn. Is it Follow Connect on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
My name will be somewhere in the
Yes.
description somewhere.
Absolutely.
I'm also on Instagram as well as on X, and my handle is that Ms. K. I know it's an alias. It's that by ThatMiSK. So that Miss Miss K, like that
I
girl.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it because she is. Because she is. Yes.
So yeah, I think that's where you can follow some of the work that I do. There are things in the pipeline. So if you just follow me on Instagram and X, and we'll you'll see some of the
You'll
work that
see.
I'm doing in the background. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
I love it. Well, thank
yes.
you.
Thank you so much. Oh
Is
my
there, yeah, is
gosh.
there anything that you else you want to share, whether it's, about the program, about your work, anything? Maybe something that we missed? I don't know if there's a question that maybe you really wanted me to ask. I just
Yeah.
forgot.
Oh, there was a. I remember you asking that, what is my favorite Afrobeats.
Yes. Oh, so you think we jumped right into this? Like we didn't even need.
We did.
Yeah, we didn't even need like an icebreaker. Tell me about the song.
I remember you asked me that. Well, I don't have a favorite Afro. I'm trying to get into Afrobeats, guys. Like, you know what? My friends are trying.
But what's your favorite genre then?
So, it's hip hop actually.
Okay.
So, and funny enough, like my first introduction of hip hop was artists from Detroit. Yeah, like
Really?
so Jay Dilla, Slum Village. That's how I got introduced into hip hop. In South Africa,
It's
believe it or not,
It's global.
you guys, Detroit is global, guys.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. But so it's a South African artist. He's the late great WHP.
Okay.
His name is Hip Hop Panzola. And he's my favorite song from him is How You Feel. So it just reminds me of summertime in South Africa, when the living was easy back then. And so we had our own version of 106 and Park.
Okay.
Right? That's the show. Yeah.
For sure.
Which is called Channel O in South Africa. So so for me, hip hop is just that's my genre.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find that song.
Please do.
I'm excited
so
to listen to
laid back.
this.
It's just it's so it's a jam.
It's a jam. Okay.
It's a jam.
I love it.
Yeah.
Man, I think this was great. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely stay connected because your work is amazing. I feel like I learned so much about talking just through talking. Like we've talked in other times, so we met through the GABA Foundation. They hosted the scholars and the fellows, and it was amazing. And I just connected with some people, and definitely a great conversation.
Oh my gosh.
Back then. So.
Yes. Please follow Avira's channel. Like she does amazing work, guys. Like press, do not just consume, okay? Press subscribe and follow on Instagram and wherever other platforms because really, I mean, we're so appreciative of you spotlighting us. So thank you so much.
As so well deserved. So
thank you.
And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Young Professional African Collective.
Kagiso Mamabolo.
Thank you for gracing us. Mamabolo. I love it. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Yes, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.